First of all, I do really want to get down this road here on the tech side, but kind of the reason we wanted you on today is because in that other conversation we were having, you were telling me that you've hired thousands of people.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing a different kind of a person apply. And so one of the reasons we wanted you on here today is to talk about that, because you're seeing these are delivery drivers, not that that's a bad thing.
Yep.
But you're seeing now a college-educated, white-collar individual applying for these delivery positions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so I'll relate this to real estate investors that are, if they're listening on the real estate side, right? You have a Class A apartment, and if you can't afford the Class A apartment, you get pushed to a Class B, then you get pushed to a Class C. But this isn't stating that the employees are, can't afford to be there or anything. It's just kind of to give that mental picture of a ladder system like ABC type properties, where you have a lot of middle management jobs that have been eliminated, but they can't go anywhere else to find jobs, right? So they're looking anything for obviously money to, keep their bills paid. So they're looking for any sort of work. And the telltale, like we were sharing, is when we first started in 2020, normally people were applying with us, never had a resume, right? Now, and I don't know if AI has to do a little bit with this, of creating things, but now we're seeing a lot of resumes that are coming through when people are actually applying for driver positions, but they're college educated and they just got eliminated job from something that AI or some sort of efficiencies actually took out that position, and they're looking for work to pay their bills, right? So, and we're just seeing an uptick in applicants.
Yeah, and that was the other piece. It's interesting. I was talking to Taro the other day, a good friend of ours, for our Limitless partner, and he had a position he put out. He had 1,100 applications.
Yeah.
So that's a lot for a position he said was about a $75,000 a year position. And now, of course, he had to weed through all those, which he used AI for, by the way. But so are you also seeing a lot more people apply?
So back in 2020, when it was hard to hire, and we had, it's kind of funny to see how it unfolds. And you said something to me back in 2020 when I was you and George Gammon actually told me this, we were spending a lot of money on Indeed. Right. I mean, a lot of money trying to push your ads up, trying to do and everybody else was hiring in that situation. Now we actually don't spend a lot of money on Indeed trying to hire. We still use Indeed. It's still a pretty big source of applicants for us in our positions, but we don't have to drive that money to try to drive us to the top. When we put in an ad, we're just getting that many more applicants. And those are just kind of like those two. I'm pretty grassroots. I don't overthink things. If I kind of look at things maybe just a little bit from a street level, a common sense level, instead of trying to overanalyze it. If I'm not spending a lot of marketing dollars to find the applicants, and I'm seeing a lot of college educated people and also with resumes that are coming, it's telling me that something different is being pushed elsewhere. Not to say above us, but just in a different, more type of office setting.
And how much are these positions paying that you're getting all these applications for?
Yeah. On average, they're $20.50 an hour to, $22 an hour. Because we have a location in Milwaukee that pays a little bit more, but the drivers there too are DOT certified. So they get a little bit extra bump just because obviously they have a higher certification as a driver.
So that's about what, 40, 45 grand a year?
Yeah. So if you had a $20 hour employee, basically you double it. A little bit more than that is kind of where your salary if you're working 40 hours a week.
And is the volume of applicants much higher than it was?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How much higher? What are the numbers?
Oh God. When we turn on the hiring bucket, right? It's, I got to say we're seeing 20% more candidates.
Oh, wow. And that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah, because that's a big number for you. That's thousands of people.
Yeah, and in nationwide, there's a little bit of turnover, in our positions, from that standpoint. But obviously, this, when we're looking for work of that nature, it's just, it's pretty mind-boggling to see. It's pretty fascinating, actually, when you look at it from just a different lens. It's kind of like, wow, we're getting a lot more applications for what isn't common for us.
When we all think about this, that's going to affect how much people can afford for their housing payments, whether that be their mortgage or their rent or having to double up on rent, because, a lot of these people in middle management are probably making 60, 80 or 100 grand. So to then go back to $40,000, that's a huge hit.
Yeah. And look at it this way. So our Madison market, because we have a location in Madison and we have a location in Milwaukee. Okay. Let's just take the Madison numbers. The median home price there is about $400,000, right? And to afford that, mortgage, you're going to be making what, 70 to 90, probably in that area after you figure taxes, principal, interest, everything else from there. So like when we get into our drivers, it's what can they afford for a starter home? Can they even find a starter home, right? So what ends up happening, like for my wife and I, as real estate investors, we actually have, housing for our employees. So let's say we have an 18 unit, that's, 2 bedroom, 1 bath in that nature. So we can actually help offset some of that cost just in our rent, right? Of a place to live, good quality place. We get a good tenant. We're still cash flowing and we're taking advantage of the tax situation. And we don't have a lot of turnover, vacancy. So the nucleus works out really well.
Full disclosure, you've been investing in real estate a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you started with the Amazon, you started you buying these places a while back, right?
Yep.
And you're just accumulating more.
Yeah, and we have apartment units, buildings.
Yeah.
And then we have single family homes as well, right? So we were able to, like one of our managers, he's a single dad. He's great. He's been with us since day one, and we found him a place in a great school district around Madison. He's been living in that place. He takes care of it. I keep on saying to him, I'm like, when are you going to buy the place? You know what I mean? I'll sell, and he's like, yeah, I'll get there sometime, but it just works out great. So even in our portfolio, we do have apartment buildings. Then we have a, handful, a little bit more of single family homes that we rent in that same manner with our employees.
So do you think though, because, there's such a push from AI right now on the white collar workforce, that this trend is going to continue for you to keep getting high quality?
And are you seeing it across the country? Because let's
Yeah.
also mention that you're part of a committee that Amazon put together of that represents all the DSPs or delivery service providers around the country, right? So
Yep.
what are you seeing across the country?
Yeah, and absolutely same aspect. When you get to the South, I mean, it's even easier to hire, right? Versus us in the Midwest. When you think about Madison, it's University of Wisconsin. There's not a lot of, it's a different workforce, right? I mean, there's more office type employees, and I could be seeing this a lot more just because of my demographics being more university type, college per se, versus maybe down here in Phoenix. The labor market could be a little bit different from that standpoint. But the hiring, I know here, because Skylar's down here in Phoenix, and Skylar, obviously too.
Of course.
And it's the same hiring for him. So Skylar also runs overnight, let's say, packages that are bulk, big DOT trucks, CDL drivers, and they're going from warehouse to warehouse or from the post office to the warehouse overnight. So that way, when his other crew comes in, they're doing their last mile delivery. And it's the same thing that he's seeing too. He's seeing some more better candidates that are coming through, the resumes, just having that conversation with them, and then just talking around people around the country. It's more in the Midwest, I would say it, then it's a little bit easier to hire, down south here, but just the uptick of, more resumes and stuff. Definitely the people in the Midwest, Michigan, Ohio, Minnesota are seeing that.
So, there's going to be obviously a resistance for the white collar worker to then go take a blue collar job. Like it just isn't, it's like these two lanes, right? We always had white collar and blue collar, and very rarely would a blue collar take a white collar job and vice versa. And are you seeing a resistance with people or are they talking to you about it after they already have the job, that they never saw themselves doing this?
You know what? Just the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They actually come in as a professional. Everybody always says it's day one, obviously you start dating somebody, they're going to be on their best behavior. We always talk about this. They're always, full uniform, things look good, more professional. It's interesting to see versus someone that's first entry level job. Maybe, actually I take that back. Entry level job, people are excited. They're working their first job, but you can also tell when someone's not going to make it. You know what I mean? They may show up right on time versus, early and prepared. So actually you see them actually show up even more prepared and more buttoned up.
That's not surprising to me. Let me ask, do you think this is like a canary in the coal mine issue?
100%.
Where this is probably going on? I mean, if it's going on at Amazon at the delivery level, it has to be going on all over, right?
And you look at it, it's the number of people that are hired to be delivery drivers. Okay. When you look at a little over 2,000 vendors like myself that have a contract with Amazon and then start doing the math about how many drivers are there. I mean, you can fact check me out there. I'm not 100%, but I'm 99% sure that our logistics system as a whole is the largest in the world. And, it's not a decade old, which is kind of crazy to think about that, about the magnitude of delivering that. And obviously, too, this is public information. It's in the papers that Amazon renewed a contract with the Postal Service. And there was a time there is Amazon going to be able to come to a deal with the post office? And then how do you service them farms that are out in the middle of nowhere to get an Amazon package? Because they truly are obsessed with the customer, right? And they'll put the infrastructure into it to be able to deliver last mile packages to everybody.